Hello everyone, it's Myokujan. Today I am going to read S4 4096, The Bad House by Paul Shifton. Grandpa, Rosie and Ben's grandpa, Rosie Ben's sister, Ben, Rosie's brother, Max, Ben's friend, Jim Wood, a famous computer scientist, Vesta, Jim Wood's house computer, Clunk, Grandpa's robot. In this story, Grandpa and Rosie visit an amazing new house, but why is the house so dangerous? Read The Bad House and find out. Chapter 1. Wow, said Grandpa as he looked at the computer screen. What are you looking at, Grandpa? Asked Rosie. On the screen, there was a photo of a big house. That's beautiful, said Rosie. Asked Rosie. On the screen, there was a photo of a big house. That's beautiful, said Rosie. Grandpa smiled. I'm happy that you like it, Rosie, because the owner of this house had just emailed me. He's invited me to come and visit him there today. Really? Said Rosie. Whose house is it? It's Jim Wood's new house in the countryside, said Grandpa. Ben and Max looked up in surprise. Jim Wood? Ben said excitedly. He's a famous computer scientist. Do you know Jim Wood, Grandpa? No, said Grandpa. But Mr. Wood has read one of the computer books that I wrote. He wants me to see his house because he used some of my ideas about computers to make it. Grandpa stood up. Do you want to come too? He asked Rosie. Mr. Wood said that I could bring one person with me. Can Ben and I come and see the house from the outside? Asked Max. Jim Wood is very famous. Yes, of course, said Grandpa. Come on. 5 minutes later, everyone was in the van. Grandpa gave Mr. Wood's address to Clunk, and then, moments later, the van arrived outside the house. Wow, that house is huge, said Max. I'm not surprised, said Ben. Jim Wood is one of the richest people in the world. Grandpa opened the van door. Clunk, please, can you come back in an hour to pick us up? Grandpa and Rosie said goodbye to the boys and went to the front door. Before Grandpa could knock, a voice said, Who are you? Why are you here? The voice came from a small screen next to the door. On the screen, Grandpa and Rosie saw the shape of a face. Mr. Wood invited me, said Grandpa. This is my granddaughter Rosie. The face on the screen smiled. Come inside, it said, and the front door opened without a sound. Chapter 2. The front hall was big and beautiful and empty. There was another bigger screen on the wall with the same computer face as the screen outside. Welcome. The face said in the same voice, Jim is very busy at his office today, but he'll be home soon. Please come in and wait for him. Okay, said Grandpa. But who are you? The face smiled. I'm the house computer, it said. I control everything here. You can call me Vesta. Come this way, please, said Vesta. Another door quietly opened. In front of Grandpa and Rosie, the house was huge, with room after room. There was a library, a gym, a games room. Every room had the same thing, a screen with the Vesta's face. This is the TV room, Vesta said, as they went into another room. But there is no TV here, said Rosie. Suddenly, every wall in the room showed a beautiful beach. The whole room is the TV, said Vesta. Please sit down, Vesta told Grandpa and Rosie. When they came to the kitchen, Jim will be home very soon. Would you like some cookies to eat while you wait? A little hole opened in the wall, and a plate of cookies came out. They are still warm, said Rosie as she tried one. Are they delicious? Asked Vesta nicely. Yes, said Rosie. Are they the most delicious cookies that you have ever eaten? Rosie wasn't sure how to answer that. How many rooms are there? Grandpa asked. 100, said the computer. And how many people live here? Jim lives here alone, answered Vesta. Really, said Rosie. But doesn't he get lonely in this huge house? Of course not. Vesta answered quickly. I'm here to look after him. I would always look after him. Grandpa looked at the screen carefully and thought. For just a moment, the Vesta's voice hadn't sounded calm and friendly. It had sounded a little angry. Chapter 3. The computer voice was calm when it spoke again. You're not eating, it said to Grandpa. Don't you like cookies? Don't you like my cookies? I'm not hungry, thank you, said Grandpa. He stood up and walked across the kitchen. We're going to leave now. Please open the door again. The door didn't open. Grandpa tried to open it with both hands, but it didn't move. Vesta, he said, open this door now. At last, the computer answered quietly, no, I don't like this, Grandpa, said Rosie nervously. What is happening? Grandpa was walking back to the table. Jim Wood has built one of the most brilliant computers in the world, he explained. It can think and it can feel emotions, but maybe it thinks and it feels too much. He picked up a kitchen chair. Get down, Rosie. Suddenly, Grandpa threw the chair at the kitchen window. There was a loud sound, but the glass did not break. The chair bounced down to the floor. Oh, that wasn't a very nice thing to do, said Vesta calmly. You almost damaged Jim's house. I'm going to teach you that you must never do that. Suddenly, the kitchen became dark. I can't see anything, said Rosie. Moments later, it was light again. I control everything in this house, said Vesta. I control the light, the temperature that was getting hotter and hotter. It became hard for Grandpa and Rosie to breathe. Stop this, shouted Grandpa. Suddenly, the temperature fell and fell until soon the room was as cold as a refrigerator. Is this better? Asked Vesta. Grandpa didn't answer. He took a screwdriver out of his pocket and went to a small metal panel at the bottom of one of the walls. Do not touch that, said Vesta, but Grandpa worked fast to open the panel with his screwdriver. I told you not to do that. Vesta's voice was louder and angrier. Stop! Chapter 4. There was a small square hole in the wall where the panel had been. Grandpa turned to Rosie. This hole is too small for me, but you are little enough. Go and try to get help. Okay, Grandpa. On her hands and knees, Rosie climbed into the hole. She could hear Vesta's angry shout from the room behind her. Come back. Come back now, or you will be very, very sorry. Don't listen, shouted Grandpa. I'll be okay. Just get help. Grandpa pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. He wanted to call Clunk, but it was hard to use the phone with cold fingers. No phone calls, shouted Vesta. I won't let you use your phone in the house. Grandpa looked at his watch. Clunk is going to come back soon to pick us up, he thought. I just have to wait until then. It was getting colder and colder in the room. Grandpa hoped that Rosie was okay. Rosie couldn't stand up behind the wall. And so she had to crawl. There are no screens here, she thought. Perhaps Vesta can see me now. So she came to a corner. Which way, left or right? Had no idea. She went left, then right at the next corner. How will I ever find the way out? She thought nervously. At last, she came to a panel that went to another room. Hello, said a man's voice from behind the panel. Is there someone there? Rosie pushed the panel hard and it fell into the room. Then she put her head through the hole. She was looking down into a small dark room and a man was looking up at her. He looked tired and hungry. Rosie thought that he had probably been here for a long time. Who are you? Asked Rosie. My name is Jim Wood, said the man, and this is my house. Chapter 5. I built Vesta to be more than just a computer. Jim Wood explained it can think and it can also feel emotion. I wanted it to feel happy when it looked after me. What happened? Asked Rosie. I decided to go on vacation. Vesta asked me not to go. Then I came down here to the basement and Vesta shut all the door. How long have you been here? Asked Rosie. Almost 2 weeks, said Jim. Every day I get a little food, but that's all. Is there any way out? Asked Rosie. Jim thought for a moment. If you go back through that panel and turn left, it will come to a chimney. It goes all the way up to the roof of the house. You might be small enough to get out, but it won't be easy. I'll try, said Rosie. She climbed back to the panel and went left. Soon she found the chimney. She looked up and saw a small square of light high above her. As Rosie started her long climb, Clunk and the boys arrived outside the house in the van. Ben and Max walked to the front door. "There's a screen with a face on it," said Max. "Cool." Vesta looked at them, said, "What do you want?" "We're here to pick up my grandfather and sister," explained Ben. "Mr. Wood and his guests have gone to town," replied Vesta. "Really?" said Max. "But—" "Have a nice day," said Vesta. "Wait, we're in town." But Vesta said nothing more. Ben and Max started to go back to the van. "That's strange. Why didn't Grandpa tell us?" "He will call us when he's ready," said Max. "Let's go home." In the chimney, Rosie was still climbing up. It was hard, slow work. Her legs and arms hurt, but she didn't stop. When she was close to the top, she heard voices outside, then the sound of the van door. The van is here, she thought, but it's leaving, so she started to climb faster and faster. Clunk, Chapter 6. Clunk was waiting in the van. "Are you ready to go?" he asked Ben and Max. "Yes," said Max. "Wait a moment, Clunk," said Ben. He was thinking something was wrong here, but what was it? "Okay, Clunk," he said at last. "Let's go." The robot reached for the van's door, but then "Stop," said Max. "I can hear someone shouting." Ben looked up. "It's Rosie. She's on the roof." Rosie was standing on the flat roof of the house and waving her arms. "Don't go," she shouted. "What's happening?" Max shouted up to Rosie. "Grandpa is in the kitchen. Jim Wood is in the basement." Rosie shouted back. "They need help. You have to save them from the house computer. It's dangerous." "How can we get inside? The front hall is big enough for the van." Rosie answered quickly. Clunk started to type a new number into the van's computer. A moment later, the van was in the hall. From the screens on the wall, the Vesta shouted angrily, "Stop! Get out of this house!" Blanco was already running to one of the closed doors. Robot was much stronger than any person, and he pushed the door open. Ben and Max followed him nervously. They started to run down the stairs to the basement. There was another closed door at the bottom of the stairs, but Clunk broke through it easily. In the basement room, Jim Wood was very surprised to see a robot and two boys at the broken door. "Who are you?" he asked. "There is no time to explain," said Clunk. "We are here to help you. Rosie told us about the house computer. We have to turn it off." "Where is the control room?" There was a look of hope in Jim's eyes. "It is upstairs," he said. "Let's go." Without another word, they all started to run up the stairs. Chapter 7. A minute later, they were all standing in a small room. This was the house's control room. Ben looked nervously at the huge computer. Lots of screens showed the different rooms around the house. Ben could see Grandpa on the screen for the kitchen. "Can you turn the computer off, Mr. Wood?" Ben asked. "Yes." Jim pushed the button on the computer. The lights on the computer went off. The screens went black. "It's over, Jim," Jim said. Everything was quiet for a few moments. Then a calm, quiet voice said, "You're wrong, Jim. It was Vesta. I made some changes. Nobody can turn me off now." And the light and the screens turned on again. On the screen, Vesta's face smiled. Suddenly there was a loud sound as a big metal door fell from the ceiling. The room was closed again. "Your robot will never break down," said Vesta. "I can keep you all here for years and years." "No," shouted Jim. "Why are you doing this? You built me to look after you." "I can't do that if you're not in the house." "What about the other people?" "I emailed Grandpa so Jim could have a friend here," replied Vesta. "I did it all for you, Jim. I want to help you." "Thank you, Vesta. But if you really want to help me, you have to let me go." Vesta didn't speak for a long time. Then at last he said, "Okay." The metal door opened. Grandpa and Rosie were waiting for them in the hall. Rosie still looked tired from her climb. Grandpa still looked cold from his time in the kitchen. After Clunk had explained everything, Grandpa said, What are you going to do with pasta, Mr. Wood? I'm sure that I can fix any problem, said Jim. Smiled at Grandpa. Would you stay for the afternoon help? I like that, but not today. I want to go home to my house and get warm. The end.